All the stories of ghosts and goblins that he had heard in the afternoon now came crowding upon his recollection. The night grew darker and darker. The stars seemed to sink deeper in the sky, and driving clouds occasionally hid them from his sight. He had never felt so lonely and dismal. He was, moreover, approaching the very place where many of the scenes of the ghost stories had been laid. In the dark shadow of the grove, he beheld something huge, misshapen and towering. It stirred not, but seemed gathered up by the gloom, like some gigantic monster ready to spring upon the traveler. Summoning up, therefore, a show of courage, he demanded in stammering accents, Who are you? He received no reply. Once more he cudgeled the sides of the inflexible gunpowder, and, shutting his eyes, broke forth with involuntary fervor into a psalm tune. Just then the shadowy object of alarm put itself in motion. With a scramble and a bound, stood at once in the middle of the road. Though the night was dark and dismal, yet the form of the unknown might now in some degree be ascertained. He appeared to be a horseman of large dimensions, and mounted on a black horse of powerful frame. There was something in the moody and dogged silence of this pretentious companion that was mysterious and appalling. It was soon fearfully accounted for. On mounting a rising ground which brought the figure of his fellow traveler in relief against the sky, gigantic in height and muffled in a cloak, Ichabod was horror-struck on perceiving that he was headless. His terror rose to desperation. He rained a shower of kicks and blows upon Gunpowder, hoping by sudden movement to give his companion the slip. But the spectre started full jump with him. Away then they dashed through the thick and thin, stones flying, sparks flashing at every bound. This road leads to a sandy hollow shaded by trees for about a quarter of a mile, where it crosses the famous bridge of the goblin story, and just beyond swells the green knoll on which stands the whitewashed church. The girths of the saddle gave way, and he felt it slipping under him. The saddle fell to the earth, and he heard it trampled underfoot by his pursuer. For a moment, the terror of Hans Van Ripper's wrath passed across his mind, for it was his Sunday saddle, but this was no time for petty fears. An opening in the trees now cheered him with the hopes that the church bridge was at hand. He recollected the place where Brom Bones' ghostly competitor has disappeared. If I can but reach that bridge, thought Ichabod, I am safe. Another convulsive kick in the ribs, and old Gunpowder sprang upon the bridge. He thundered over the resounding planks. He gained the opposite side, and now Ichabod cast a look behind to see if his pursuer should vanish according to rule in a flash of fire and brimstone. He saw the goblin rising in his stirrups, and in the very act of hurling his head at him. Ichabod endeavored to dodge the horrible missile, but too late. It encountered his cranium with a tremendous crash. He was tumbled headlong into the dust, and Gunpowder, the black steed, and the goblin rider all passed by like a whirlwind. The next morning, the old horse was found without his saddle, soberly cropping the grass at his master's gate. The boys assembled at the schoolhouse and strolled idly about the banks of the brook, but no schoolmaster. Hans Van Ripper began to feel some uneasiness about the fate of poor Ichabod and his saddle. In one part of the road leading to the church, he found the saddle trampled in the dirt. The tracks of horses' hooves deeply dented the road, and evidently at furious speed were traced to the bridge. beyond which was found the hat of the unfortunate Ichabod, and close beside it, a shattered pumpkin. The mysterious event caused much speculation at the church on the following Sunday. They shook their heads and came to the conclusion that Ichabod had been carried off by the galloping Hessian. The schoolhouse, being deserted, soon fell to decay and was reported to be haunted by the ghost of the unfortunate pedagogue, and the ploughboy, loitering homeward of a still summer evening, has often fancied his voice at a distance, chanting a melancholy psalm tune among the tranquil solitudes of Sleepy Hollow.